social media. So this is only going out to the mailing list and to the members of our Social Media Ninja Academy, not sharing it on social media to the public or anything like that. But I want to talk about an economic shift that's been going on in social media for a good couple of years. I'd say it's really heavily been going on for the last 4 years, but the tides had begun to turn probably a couple years even before that. And it's this idea that members of our academy hear me say this all the time because a lot of my coaches tell me these things, but we've got to go beyond this mentality of communicating into a mentality and into an environment where we actually connect with other people. And when you look at what's hot, whether it be on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook or Snapchat, when you hear people in that space trying to succeed, you often hear them talk about, how many followers do you have? How many subscribers do you have? I'm trying to get more subscribers, or I'm trying to get more followers. I'm trying to get more views. I'm trying to get more. And what you hear at the center of that is I want more of this. I want more of that. And I've been saying for the better part of 2 years that we've got to get out of this mentality of just trying to, especially for those of you who are doing this organically, where you're not paying for promotion, which is pretty much the way we've done it for pretty much the whole time we've been here. For those of you who are doing this from an organic fashion, this is specifically important. We've got to go beyond just I am trying to get, okay? We've got to go beyond trying to just grow something and really start to connect with the people who are there. So those of you who have been around me for a while, you know that unless the comment doesn't warrant a response, if someone sends me a question, typically I respond, and I respond in a very timely fashion, usually in less than 24 hours. And a lot of people are often surprised by that. They're like, wow, they'll check it a week later, be like, oh my God, you responded this the day I sent it. They're like, and what they don't understand is that I'm not here just to grow something for my own benefit. I'm here because I want to be a part of people's lives. I want to be a part of enriching people's lives. I just happen to be using social media and, doing social media coaching with businesses and entrepreneurs in order to accomplish it. But the more social media gets crowded, one of the things I share with our Academy ninjas very recently was a statistic that showed the growth. Specifically, we'll just take YouTube as an example, because this isn't true for every platform, but it's very much true for YouTube, where YouTube has pretty much hit its saturation point. Its growth, it's still growing. All right, I'm not going to sit here and say that it's not growing, but the growth has slowed so dramatically over the last 2 years that there's really no room for it to continue the explosive growth it had once upon a time. So what that means is it's hit kind of that saturation point where any growth it sees, I'd say going forward, is going to be minimal. But it's also growing in the number of people who are on the platform sharing content, not just the people who are consuming it. And so what that puts you in the position of is you have more and more people competing for the attention of a group that's not really getting any bigger. And unfortunately, trying to communicate using the old methods isn't really what's going to work. I want to just make content and get a bunch of followers. In the long run, what you're really going to have to sit down and think about is how are you going to make something that's not just going to have a positive impact on the lives of the people that you're trying to reach, because that's part of it. I mean, I see content creation as kind of a 50-50. You win because you get to do something you love and you're passionate about, but you also make it for other people, and you make it in an empathetic way such that they want to watch it and be a part of what you're doing. But you've got to go beyond simply blasting your message. I get a lot of questions all the time from people that clearly are not aware of this economic shift, or maybe they're just very selfish people. And they're like, yo, where can I go to blast my videos so millions of people can see it? And I'm like, that's not really the approach you want to take. There's nowhere you could go to just blast your content. And people the analogy I always use when I'm coaching is, what if you just walked into somebody's house that didn't know you, you stood in front of their television and just started yelling things at them that you cared about? Not only would they throw you out of the house, you wouldn't get the desired goal of actually connecting with that person. But if you had a way to figure out what that person wanted or needed, and then you had knowledge, or you had access to resources or information that you could serve to them to say, here's this thing that you want so desperately, I have a vested interest in having a positive impact on your life. So I created this thing for you. Hopefully you'll find it helpful. And the more I've seen, just from the times where I've done that, because let's be clear, there's videos that I've made that weren't as empathetic as other videos that I've made. But every time I make a video with someone else in mind and trying to solve a real problem, that's where I get not necessarily millions of views, because yes, I've created videos that have brought in very high viewership. In fact, I have one, I think that's the most views I've ever done on a video is a little over 1 million maybe. But it's the engagement videos where I am actually engaging with my audience in a way that's meaningful. And not just YouTube, you can apply this to Instagram. Facebook especially is one of the challenges on YouTube, obviously, is that it's not a very good social platform. If Google Plus had caught on, that would probably be a different story. But YouTube is not highly social. Usually YouTube is where we go to consume the content and then the conversation happens elsewhere. But in Facebook especially, you have an opportunity to really, I can't tell you how many people send me private messages or even private messages on Facebook or even emails asking me very deep personal questions that aren't always related to the stuff I coach on in YouTube or social media. It's a lot of times life stuff. And I, in every case where I can, will respond with something, hopefully either directing them to information if I don't know the answers, but I know where to find them, or giving them an answer from experience in my life or knowledge that I have. And as social media continues to get more and more creators and more marketers vying for your attention, you are going to have to, as a creator, as a marketer, as an entrepreneur, really hone in on who is your target audience specifically, making content that they specifically either desperately want or need, and then engaging with them after the fact. You'll hear Gary Vaynerchuk is one of the people who coaches me, or I have been coached by him in certain situations. He's not like a guy that calls me on the phone and talks to me regularly. I don't want to give a false impression, but one of the things he coaches on this emphatically, where it's just like when he's helping people, he'll go on their social media and look at it and be like, why aren't you engaging with your audience? They're talking to you. Why aren't you talking back to them? And I can't tell you, especially the entertainment YouTubers, when I hear them say, no, I don't respond to comments. That's cool. Like, no, I don't respond to comments is cool if you're already an established business person and you have the ability to invest a lot of capital in getting people to see your content, because you can bring the viewership and the engagement in just by making content and getting it in front of a lot of people. But if you're not sitting on that type of cake, then you're going to have to build your army one soldier at a time. That's what one of my coaches, Wendy Day, taught me many, many years ago, because, I told her I was making very niche content. I know it's not content. I told her that's going to reach, at the time I was doing music, I was like, I know this isn't content that, millions and millions of people are going to want to listen to. And she just told me, if you're going to do that, you have to build your army one soldier at a time. And I took her advice over the years, and I've learned how to give value to people and connect with them. In fact, to the point where she and I are connected now. This is a person that I talk to and regularly interface with. But that took time. That took time of adding value. Like, I didn't just go to her and beg her, please come talk to me, please come pay attention to me. I would find things that I knew she needed that I had access to, and I'd say, hey, maybe this will help you. Maybe this will help you. And this is a person now who is connected with me. And this is a person who I revere as a coach and was elated when she was, when she made the connection with me. But that didn't just happen overnight, and it didn't just happen because I made a bunch of content and blasted it. It happened because I saw a need and I went out and met it. And that's really the heart of this video, is you've got to hone in on finding the needs of other people, even if you're an entertainer. Okay, I don't want to discourage you. Like, a lot of times what I'm saying sounds like you have to be a philanthropist out there curing diseases or feeding the poor, which, this is something that we do in our business. We do go out, and not in my business, I do it as a person. We go out and feed the homeless and stuff like that. But you don't have to be doing those things to connect with people. What you have to do is create content that your audience wants, but to do that, you have to know your audience. These are people that you need to spend time getting to know and fostering a relationship with, because you're going to need that relationship in order for them to stay connected with you, because they're going to be getting distracted by literally a million other people trying to get their attention. Again, whether it's YouTube or it's a blog or it's Instagram, none of that, the platform doesn't matter, okay? It's if you are not consistently connecting with these people, and I don't mean just in the comments, sometimes it's someone will ask me a question and I'll just on the spot make a video that answers the question and name them and say, hey, I made you this video that answers your question. And sometimes I share it publicly. Sometimes I've just had somebody jump on Snapchat with me and I'll film little videos that say, hey, I got your question. Here's what you need to do. First video. Number 1, you need to XYZ. Second video. Number 2, and they can just watch the Snapchat feed that gives them everything they need to do in order to solve the problem. And so people say, well, if you do that for one person, you got to do it for everybody. Cool. If all of you want to do that on Snapchat with me, then follow me and I'll do it for everybody to the degree that I can. A lot of times I get questions that don't have an answer. Like sometimes people will connect with me and they'll say, hey, can I ask you a question? And I'm like, yeah, just ask your question. You don't have to ask me for permission to ask me a question. So again, social media is moving from a communication economy. And really, it's hard to be honest with you, it's already there. I just want to make sure you all are aware of it because a lot of people are slow to make the transition. I'll illustrate the point and then I'll get off the mic. YouTube switched from views being the number one currency that drew authority to your channel to watch time. Because watch time implied that there was a connection there, right? So YouTube figured this out years ago that we've got to go beyond just simply getting our stuff in front of people, and we've got to start measuring how well are people actually connecting with the material and spending time with it. And that's how you have to think as a creator and as an entrepreneur, whether you're making entertainment videos or you're actually selling self-help products or whatever it is you do as one of our followers. You've got to start thinking about connecting with your audience. And if that means spending an hour one night and answering comments, then just do it. Do that, because that's where you're going to get folks to one of the things you'll hear about in business as you start to grow and you start to see some success is you'll hear about brand preference is kind of great, but what you want to get to is brand insistence. When you make those types of connections with people, they won't leave. You will have them as a client, as a customer, as a follower, as a contributor, as a person who supports you, whether it's financially or otherwise, literally forever if you make those types of connections. And in order to succeed going forward on social media and the internet, you're going to have to start making those connections because you're going to have more and more competition doing it the old way, where they're just making content and blasting it. But the folks who are going to start winning are the ones who are going to start connecting with their audience. All right, I hope you guys found this helpful. What I'd really like you to do is when you get this email and when you see this video, shoot me an email back, or you can leave a comment here on the video. This video will always be available to you. I'm not going to take it down. It's just not going to be open to the public. So, keep it under wraps. But I want you to leave me a comment, or you can just email me back and let me know if you'd like more of this exclusive type content that's just for the folks that actually follow us, not just the folks that are on YouTube, but the folks that have actually clicked a button to say, hey, we want to be a part of what you're doing. If you find this helpful, let me know. And as I get questions, I may make more videos like this based on the questions that I get that aren't always public. A lot of these longer conversational videos don't necessarily do all that well for the channel. So I figured rather than try to scrape a bunch of views together for something that's more conversational, I'll just give it to you guys. I'll make a connection with you guys and ladies, and hopefully it'll help you out. So anyway, I love you guys as always. Remember that we are stronger than I. Be sure to stay tuned. This should be Thursday when you're watching this. Friday, tomorrow night, I am probably going to do a live YouTube video. Now, I know I said I was going to be switching over to Facebook. That's still very much true. In fact, I may broadcast there at the same time. But as I'm going through my notes and I'm seeing interaction with people as we've made all the changes to the channel, I think one more live YouTube video may be in order, just to make sure everybody's made the transition. Be sure to like our Facebook page, Clients Incoming. I'll have, there's a link in the email when you get it, but there's also a link in the description of this video if you jumped out of your email to come watch this on YouTube. So definitely like our Facebook page. I post a ton of stuff there that I do not talk about on YouTube because it's just better for the Facebook audience. You got to, like I said, I've said in other videos, you have to understand how each platform works and the type of content that works on each platform and serve those platforms properly. Anyway, I love you guys. We'll talk soon. Peace.